Hi everyone. Hope everyone is doing well at the moment, even during the pandemic situation. We are now preparing for our advanced management accounting paper. Therefore, you have to go through these lessons and these webinars. We have done a series of webinars, and this is another topic which will be helpful for your final examination, which can be tested under cost management even. I think we have had a rough idea about customer profitability analysis, but we have not discussed in detail about how we going to analyze customer profitability. I think you have an idea about activity based costing and how we use activity based costing when analyzing customer profitability. Okay, the today topic we are going to discuss in detail how to analyze customer profitability and how to analyze distribution channel profitability. I think the remaining topics we have already covered about value chain analysis, benchmarking, thereafter modern manufacturing environment, which is related to cost management topic. Therefore, today we are going to discuss about customer profitability analysis. Why it is so important? CPA, customer profitability analysis. Why we need to analyze the profitability of the customer. Therefore, when we are going to discuss this topic, you have to have an idea when the customers are there, one by one customer, if we look at, their relative profitability is different because the relative services they are consumed by our customers will be different. Okay, I will take an example. Okay, customer profitability. Yes, if I take an example, assume our ladies and our gentlemen, you are going to, I think most of the people, even during this pandemic, you went for New Year shopping. Okay, those who have went for shopping in the April season, now we are aware about the results you are obtaining at the moment. Okay, in the country situation. Anyway, that is a separate situation. Assume there is a lady and another gentleman. Now, if we look at these two customers, okay, assume a girl and boy. Assume I will take hypothetical illustration. Here is Amal. Here Nimali. Two customers. Generally, if you look at about the customer perception, if you look at about discounts, based on the experience, whom do you will believe or think will ask more discount, either Amal or Nimali? Think about that. Our gentleman and our lady, who will ask more discount? Naturally, we say that generally a majority of the buyers in the buying pattern, we say that gentlemen are emotional buyers, but our ladies are more rational buyers. When they are going to purchase something, they know the real value of it. They are bargaining. Therefore, generally, if you assume the product value, assume 1,000 rupees. You will ask, Amal will ask, okay, can you give me a discount of 10% on it? 10%. Okay, that means 1,000, then you will purchase at 900. Okay, after reduction, original price was 1,000. You ask for 10% discount, then it is 900. But traditionally, gentlemen are not going to argue, not going to bargain much and more. Then a seller says, Matya, I can give up to, this is almost 1,000 rupees equal to cost. Therefore, since this is the first transaction for today, I will give you a discount 950, by 50 rupees I will give you a discount. Okay, then okay, you are not going to bargain. Then Amal says, okay, give me a discount 50 rupees. Now your selling price was 1,000, but customer asked for discounts. then you have given a discount of 50 rupees, you have given a discount per unit, discount. On the other hand, Nimali, early in the morning, she is the first customer of this shop. Now she want, the price tag says it is 1000 rupee. 1000 rupee. She knows that since this is the festival season, definitely they will add significant markup on cost. She'll ask for, okay, I want this product 50% discount, I want this for a 500 rupees. 500 rupees. Now she is bargaining 500. Now this is the first sale. She reluctant to increase the price. She bargaining that I want this for 500 rupees. Then this is the first sale, he can't further bargain. She is continuously bargaining for 500 rupees. Now you have decided, okay, I will give it at 500. Then your discount, you have given a discount of 500. Discount of 500. Now when we are analyzing relative profitability of these two customers, Amal is relatively higher profitable than Nimali. When Nimali selecting this product, she asked different selection. Okay, can I see that product? Can I see this trouser? Can I see this frock? She asked for lot of things. The assume sales force, assume one person has allocated to her, but that person has almost spent 2 hours to select one item. But this person say, can you give me a discount? Yes, I will give a 50 rupee discount. Then he said, okay, within 5 minutes, you have made a sale to Amal. But Nimali, it has taken 1.5 hours to make a sale. And you have to give a discount, 500 rupees. You have earned a slight margin because you know about the customers bargaining. Therefore, if they bargain, we have to have a margin. Therefore, you have double the price, or this might be after adding significant margin. Assume cost is 400, you have had 250% margin, now it is 1000. Therefore, you have end up with a 100 rupee margin. At the end of the day, you have got a margin. Nimali, if you compare these two customers, Nimali is relatively expensive or low profitable customer. Sometime she might ask for replacement thereafter, but this customer may not ask for replacement. Therefore, the purpose of analyzing customer profitability is to keep in mind, identify least profitable customer or customer groups in your, because not only the direct cost, after you make the sale, customer might ask support services. Those support services, sometimes you may not charge any cost on that. Sometime installation fee, some replacement fee, after sales services. Customers might ask lot of after sales services. Then you have to see relative profitability of those customers. Clear? Therefore, what is our objective? Convert these least profitable customer. Now 500, assume the same type of product. Here you have sold for 900. Now your objective is to convert this least profitable customer into a more profitable customer like Amal. Very difficult. You have to convert. That is the purpose of customer profitability analysis. When it comes to the corporate, there are some customers who purchase in bulk. If they purchase in bulk, then you can make a big money at once. But there are, because assume there is a customer, I will take another example. There is a customer, corporate customer, they purchase in bulk terms. Okay, this customer annual demand, assume customer A, their annual demand 100,000 kilograms, the annual demand. Per order, they will place 50,000 kilograms. Assume you will give support service, that means you will give delivery. Now you want to place how many number of deliveries? Only 2 deliveries, number of deliveries. But there is a relative, this particular customer B, they also purchase 50,000 kilograms. Each time they will order 5,000 kilograms. Now how many deliveries you have to take place? 10 deliveries. While analyzing these two customers, now you will earn the same contribution. There is no, assume there is no change in price and there is no change in variable cost, same product. But if you look at about their support service activity consumption, customer A will be more profitable than customer B. Therefore, you have to analyze their relative profitability. The purpose of analyzing this customer profitability, you will identify some inefficiencies of some customer group or one customer. Then you will convert that least profitable customer into a more profitable customer. How I convert this least profitable customer to a more profitable customer, that is the purpose of customer profitability analysis. There will be some big customers, but their relative profitability will be lower due to support service cost. But there sometime you may not focus on some small customers, they are relatively high profitable than big players. Then you have to identify, see where my efficiency and deficiency exist. Who are my relatively high profitable customer and who are my relatively low profitable customer. You have to manage them and you have to convert least profitable customer into more profitable customer, and you have to identify what extent I need to deliver the service or attention to those customers who generate high profitability, relative high profitability, but which we put a less attention to service them. Okay, that is the purpose of customer profitability analysis. Here it says that customer profitability analysis uses an activity based approach to relate revenues and cost to group of customers in order to assess their relative profitability. Objective, I have said, convert least profitable customers into a more profitable customer. Variation in customer profitability, as I said, why customer profitability will vary one customer to other customer. Okay, as you think about kind of this thing, sometime in a practical scenario, this will affect. This effect you can identify. Simple example I have taken in a festival season, you might have gone for a shopping. In a textile shop, compare the customer's behavior. One customer asks for more selection, customers ask for more discount. Okay, one by one we will see. Analyzing customer profitability can vary widely between different customers for a range of reasons. Okay, see the reasons. Overhead costs are to some extent variable and customer driven, affecting the cost of servicing the customer. Okay. Discount offered to the customer may vary depending on management discretion. Assume there will be some big customers, they will ask for high discounts. Okay, I will take these two customers. Since customer A is a relatively large volume customer, major customer, they have the bargaining power of the customer is very high. They will ask, okay, I want 20% discount, but this customer is relatively low volume. Okay, assume this customer purchases 1 million This is purchasing only 50,000 kilogram. Relatively low. Sometimes they might offer a regular discount of 2%. Now when assessing relative profitability, you might not pay attention for this similar kind of customers who purchase small quantities because they are claiming only 2% small percentage of discount. You have to analyze customers who take more discount, then their relative profitability will vary and distribution method will vary and therefore so will cost. Distribution cost, assume their distance is different. There is a buyer who purchase large quantities, but it is a long distance. Then distribution cost also vary with customer to customer, then total cost also will vary, support service cost. The sales force time may disproportionately be used by different customers. I have took up good example. In a festival season in April, assume you might went for shopping, assume a textile shop. A lady may take 1 hour time to select one item of good or one item of cloth. But might be a gentleman, he has only spent 10 minutes from the sales force time and he has bought more than 10 items. Okay. Therefore, time spent by sales force will be vary by customer to customer. Okay. Some customers will take more advantages of promotion than others. You are giving some promotional discount, okay, 20%, 30% discounts will give. Some customers mainly purchase based on discounts, but some others are not considered about the discounts. Therefore, customer profitability also will differ. Financing cost will vary between customers depending how quickly they are paid. Some customers, assume this corporate customer, this customer say, okay, I will settle after 1 month period. In the working capital management, we have considered extension of credit period or reduction of credit period is worthwhile. Therefore, if you have given a credit period, those credit involves some borrowing cost, finance cost. Those also sometimes this customer purchase on cash. There is no finance cost associated with that, but this customer purchase on 2 months credit, there is a 2 months credit outstanding will be there, then that 2 months you have to incur borrowings. Sometimes you working capital finance by the borrowings, then you have to incur some finance cost associated with the particular customer. Therefore, when assessing customer profitability, customer specific cost should be traced. Then you can identify the relative profitability of each customer. Merchant quality control requirement may vary. Some customers may require high quality, their packaging should be different, they expect minimum deviation. Some customers, after when they are before going to purchase, they will go through a separate quality check-in, they might ask for separate packaging. Those kind of things will be there. Merchandising as a form of promotion or sales tool may vary between customers. Merchandising, okay, the number of inquiries for customer generate may vary. Okay, inquiries also vary from one customer to one customer. Therefore, you have to handle the customer complaint, you have to give some customer information. Those depend on customer to customer. Customer cost and ABC. Balan, it says it is suitable to build up cost for individual customers or groups of customers on activity basis so that their relative profitability can be assessed. As I have mentioned, you have to look at when you are going to service customer A, what are the other supporting activities consumed by product or customer A. Okay. Then you have to look at if they consume, now activity based costing principle will apply. If you consume more support service activities, more cost associated with those support service costs should be allocated to product or customer A. If customer B, he is not taking much activity, only few activities, then their profitability will be high since they have consumed less amount of support service cost. When analyzing that, it is very important to see how extent they have utilized or they have used this support service activity. Therefore, you have to identify those activities which generate support service cost to the each customer. As an example, delivery is an activity. After you make the sale, you have to deliver the product to the customer's doorstep. Then that is a one of major activity which you need to allocate the cost among the customers. Number of orders placed, order taking. Some customers regularly they will order small amount. Then they will, if they place a small order at once, what will happen? You have to do more delivery some situation, or you have to give more effort on taking down more orders. Therefore, activity consumption, level of activity utilization will be high. If they place big orders at once, number of orders placed by the customer will reduce. Therefore, when analyzing profitability of each customer, you have to look at up to how extent, okay, how extent customers have consumed these support service activities. These are the some examples and cost drivers. You have given the activity, what is the cost driver? What is the meaning of cost driver? We have learnt in activity based costing. Cost driver mean the factor which cause to change the cost, activity cost. As an example, number of delivery cost will change according to the number of deliveries you have taken or number of miles you have travelled, delivery cost. Sales visit cost will differ from the number of sales visit you have taken. Order taking, how many number of orders placed by the customer. Therefore, based on that, you have to determine who are the most profitable customers. That is very important, analyzing their relative profitability. Customer cost versus ABC. Unprofitable customers identified by CPA should be persuaded to alter their buying behavior so they become profitable customers. After analyzing the weaknesses or inefficiencies in support service activity consumption, inefficiencies in their purchasing pattern, you can suggest to change their purchasing pattern. You can use some strategies to alter their purchasing pattern. How can you do that? Okay, while discussing an example, I will say how to do that. Okay, assume this is a big customer, assume this particular customer, he places small orders at once. Now you want to increase number of quantities order at one, number of unit order at once, in order to reduce number of deliveries, in order to reduce number of orders taken by the company. That means you have to satisfy entire 1 million. Currently he is ordering 10,000 unit at once. That means he has to place 100 orders. 100 orders he need to place. But you say, assume in short term you want to reduce the cost by 50%. Okay, you will say, if you order not 10,000, if you order 25,000 unit or more at once, we will give 1% discount. Okay, 1% additional discount. Now, or otherwise we will give additional 100 unit, 10 unit, 1000 unit we will give as a discount. Then they will think, okay, if I purchase in bulk, I will get additional discount. Then they will motivate, but remember the amount of discount you offer should not exceed the cost saving from the change in buying pattern. It should not have been changed. Okay. The activity based approach also highlights where cost reduction efforts should be focused. When you analyzing activity by activity, you will analyze where the deficiency exists. Like value chain analysis also, you have analyzed in value chain primary activity, secondary activity. While analyzing primary and secondary activity, you will be able to identify where the mismatch, where the deficiency exists. Same here in customer profitability analysis also, you can identify activities and you can identify where the deficiency exists. As an example, I will take delivery, order taking, thereafter customer complaint, or rush orders, replacements, okay. If you look at customer, while analyzing here also you will look at the same thing, delivery, order taking, no rush orders. Order taking also, they order big quantities at once. Delivery, they order bulk quantity, therefore less miles they have been travelled. But here you have identified some rush orders, they have ordered less quantities at once, therefore number of miles they have travelled to deliver the goods will be higher in customer A. Now you have identified where the weakness exists. Now you have to convert those activities into more attractive, more efficient activities. Okay, that is the purpose. You can give some additional discount, but the saving should be greater than the offering of discount. Okay, those are different approaches you can use in order to get an idea how to deal with this situation. Okay, there is an example in 2015 June question number 1 business level. This will be a good example when we are going to discuss with customer profitability analysis. Then we can identify what is the difference of traditional analysis and why it is important to analyze customer related cost based on the activity based analysis. Then you can understand what is the relative importance of customer profitability analysis. Okay, we will move to 2015 June question number 1 in business level. The purpose of this analysis is to, in examination also this has been tested, therefore this can be tested in the examination. Then you have to have a clear idea about this particular section. Okay, we will move to customer profitability analysis. I think 2015 June question number 1. 15 June question number 1. Customer profitability analysis. Okay, we will read carefully, then we will see how we are going to deal with this illustration and how we are going to understand customer profitability analysis. City Agency CA is the sole agent in Sri Lanka for several multinational pharmaceutical manufacturers. CA imports drugs and sells them to retail customers, pharmacies and supermarkets. Okay, they are the customers, pharmacies and supermarkets. CA's customers vary in size and consequently the size and frequency of their orders also vary. දැන් බලන්න එතනම කියනවා the customer order size will vary, their frequency also vary, therefore customer profitability will be vary. The current management information system of CA, which is predominantly a financial accounting and reporting system, produces only very little management information because it is a predominantly financial reporting system. Therefore, financial reporting information only they will provide and less management accounting information being provided. It hardly produces any product wise or customer wise decision support management information. Product wise or customer wise information not being provided. CA is therefore unaware of customers of servicing CA is therefore unaware of the cost of servicing individual customers. Okay, they are not aware about that. A new financial controller who recently joined CA has decided to perform customer profitability analysis. He has decided to do a customer profitability analysis. He has initially planned to see the result from a sample of 2 customers before deciding whether to fully introduce CPA. Okay, before going to introduce full customer profitability analysis, he is going to do, okay, first I will see 2 customers and I will assess their relative profitability. After analyzing that, then he will decide what they are going to do. Customer A, H and LW, and as a company as a whole, the total figures being given. Okay, activity is also given. We will read contribution A, H and LW 1500 in rupees 1000, 810 LW, company 9000, that means 9 million is the contribution. Number of packs sold 50,000 for AH, 27 කියලා දීලා තියෙන්නේ in number of units in 1000, 27 and company 300,000 packs being sold. Okay, they are selling pharmaceuticals. Number of sales visit to customers, number of normal deliveries to customers and number of urgent deliveries to customers given by each customer and the company as a whole. Activity cost given in rupees 1000. Look at, there are 4 activities. The 4 support service activities it has been identified. Sales visit to customers cost is 1000 mean 1 million. Processing orders 1.4 million. Normal deliveries 2.4 million. Urgent deliveries 1.2 million. Now what it asks me to do? Prepare a customer profitability analysis for each of 2 customers. You have to do a customer profitability analysis for each of 2 customers. Okay, customer A, H and LW, and demonstrate how CA could use this customer profitability analysis to increase its profits. Okay, you have to suggest the strategies. You have to practically think and you have to suggest it. Okay, 2 customers, I will take 2 customers AH and LW. Okay, I will take AH and LW. These are the 2 customers. Okay. Now their contribution of AH and LW is given. Okay. Contribution I will take these figures are in rupees 1000. Contribution AH 1500, AH 1500, LW 810. Okay, these are the contribution for AH and LW. Okay, now we will look at what are the support service activities. Okay, I will allocate support service cost based on the activity consumption. Support service cost. Support service cost. First activity, sales visit to customers. Sales visits to customers. I will put working number 1 lamai. Okay, we will put a working total cost 1 million. Then what is the suitable cost driver? Okay, this is the working number 1, sales visits to customer, visits to customers. Sales visits to customers. The cost is 1 million. What is the cost driver? Cost driver mean the factor which affect to change the cost. Therefore, sales visit cost to customers will change according to number of sales visit to customer. Therefore, you have to find cost driver, suitable cost driver. Cost driver mean the factor which affect to change this cost. The cause of the cost which affect to change this cost. Therefore, sales visit cost will change according to what? Number of sales visit to customer. Therefore, cost driver should be number of sales visits. Number of sales visit. Sometime when you are going to make a sale, you have to regularly visit some customers and you have to convince to purchase. Some customers are not like that. You will make a quick visit, then they will certainly purchase it. But some customers you have to regularly visit, at least to make one sale, you would have to visit 3-4 times. Okay. Therefore, cost is 1 million. This is for the entire company, not for one customer. How many number of sales visits being made? Entire company has made 200 visits. Then if they have made 200 visits, the cost will be 1 million. Now you have to calculate cost per visit. Then therefore, cost per visit equal 1 million is the total cost. Number of visits are 200. Then you will receive 5,000 per visit. Rupees 5,000 per visit. Rupees 5,000 per visit. Now you have to see how many visits been taken place or how many visits been made during the period for customer AH and LW. AH says, okay, AH. There are 24 sales visits. 24, each 5,000. Total value 120,000. Customer LW, how many sales visit? They have only taken 12 sales visit. 12 into 5,000, 60,000. Now see, it will leave. If this customer has consumed more activity level, therefore it has allocated more cost. But customer LW has consumed less number of sales visit. You need not to regularly visit to LW, then you will allocate less amount of cost. Now you can recognize sales visit to customer AH 120, LW 60, LW 60. Okay, next one, processing orders. Second activity, processing orders. Working number 2. Okay, processing orders. Total cost 1.4 million. Order processing. I will take working number 2, processing orders. Processing orders. The total cost is given here 1.4 million. 1.4 million. Cost driver. What is the cost driver? The factor which affect to change the cost. Cost driver will be, what is the suitable cost driver for the processing orders? Number of orders placed by customers. Number of orders. Number of orders placed by customers. Number of orders placed by customers. Okay, if you look at the total number of orders placed by customers have placed 700 orders. It is not only for a one customer, 700 orders for entire company. This 1.4 million for the entire company. Therefore, 700 orders. Therefore, now you can calculate cost per order. Cost per order. 1.4 million divided by 700. The answer will be 2000 rupees per order. Per order. 2000 rupees per order. Now you have the answer 2000 rupees per order. AH, how many orders have been taken place? AH, number of orders placed by customer. AH has made 75 orders. 75 orders, each 2000. Total cost 150,000. LW, how many orders that they have placed? 20. Then they should allocate 20 into 2000, 40,000. Now, if you consume more activity level, you will allocate more cost. Now, I will take this side, AH 75 into 2000, 150,000 to be deducted. Then the customer relative profitability will reduce. LW, it should be 40,000. 40,000. Then normal deliveries, the third activity, the third support service activity, normal deliveries. Normal deliveries. Working number 3, normal deliveries. Normal delivery total cost 2.4 million, number of deliveries taken place during the period 240. That is for the entire company. Okay. Working number 3. Working number 3. Normal deliveries. Normal deliveries. Cost 2.4 million. Cost driver. The factor which affect to change the cost. It's a number of normal deliveries to customers. Number of normal deliveries. number of normal deliveries. Number of normal deliveries. For the entire company, number of normal deliveries were taken place 240. 240 deliveries, normal deliveries. 240 normal deliveries. Then now you can calculate total cost 2.4 million you have spent on 240 deliveries. Then you can easily calculate what should be the cost per delivery, cost per normal delivery. We'll calculate cost per normal delivery equal 2.4 million the cost you have incurred. Number of normal deliveries were 240. Then it should be 10,000 per order or per delivery. 10,000 rupees per delivery. Eka delivery ka 10,000 yanama. If it is 10,000 per delivery, look at customer age, how many deliveries been taken place during the period? 45. 45 number of deliveries. Then I will take, no need to multiply here itself, 10,000 into 45. How much? 450. 450,000 you have to recognize normal delivery cost for AH. 450. LW, they have only taken 15 normal deliveries. 15 into 10,000, it should be 150. 150. Urgent deliveries. Urgent deliveries. But urgent deliveries total cost 1.2 million, but only AH only consume urgent deliveries. We will look at final one, urgent deliveries. Fourth, urgent deliveries. Urgent deliveries. Working number 4. We'll see urgent delivery, how it will work, urgent deliveries. Working number 4, urgent deliveries. Cost is 1,200,000. Cost driver, it's given activity cost driver, you can take number of urgent deliveries to customers, number of urgent deliveries. This 1.2 million you have spent for how many urgent deliveries? In the company as a whole, you have taken, you have consumed 30 urgent deliveries. 30 deliveries. 30 deliveries. 30 deliveries you have consumed. Then per order or per delivery, how much you have spent? How much you have spent for urgent delivery per delivery? Therefore, cost per urgent delivery. Cost per urgent delivery. Cost per urgent delivery. Cost per urgent delivery. Total cost 1.2 million, 1,200,000. Number of urgent deliveries taken place 30. Cost per urgent delivery is 40,000. cost per urgent delivery is 40,000. Now while analyzing this cost per urgent deliveries, only AH has taken taken urgent deliveries. They have taken, or customer AH has taken 5 urgent deliveries. 5 into 40,000, you have to deduct 200,000 from customer AH. No urgent deliveries for LW. Now we will calculate relative profitability of each customer AH and LW. 1500 minus 120, 152, 70, then 820, 1020. Check whether it is answer is correct. 270, 470, 920. 920 mean net profit will be, okay, net profit will be 580. Net profit 580 in rupees 1000. Remember, 580 in rupees 1000 net profit. Anyway, it is in rupees 1000. Then LW, if you calculate the net profitability, how much? See, 100, 250. 250 mean this should be 560. 560. That is their net profitability. By looking at the net profitability for customer AH and LW, what can you say? Customer AH is more profitable? AH is more profitable? You can't say like that. This is absolute profitability. You have to look at how many units they have been sold. Customer H, how many units? Customer LW, how many units? If you look at the customer AH and LW, customer AH, number of packs sold 50,000. Customer LW, they have sold 27,000. Therefore, number of packs sold, number of packs sold, I will take in 1000. Here it is 50, here it is 27,000. Now you can easily calculate profit per pack. Profit per pack you can calculate. Thereafter you can decide which one is more profitable. Profit per pack. Per pack. Okay, in rupees, not 1000. The reason is here also 1000, here also 1000, then you can get the real value. How much it would be here? 11 rupees and 60 cents per pack. 11 rupees and 60. Okay, 11 rupees and 60. Here how much it would be? 560 into 27 mean 540, 200 mean approximate value should be 20 rupees and 20 rupees and divide kala kanaban 540 20 200 mean 8 9 8 7 6 20.67. Okay, 20.67. Which gives the more profitability? LW gives more profitability. It gives 20 rupees and 67 cents per pack. But customer LW AH only give 11 rupees and 60 cents. Therefore, LW is the most profitable customer. Profitable or more efficient customer. AH is less profitable. You might think their contribution high, their contribution low, per unit contribution will be different. No, if you calculate 50,500 divide by 50, contribution per unit 30 rupees. 810 divided by 27,000 unit, contribution per unit 30. Both product give same contribution, but profit per pack is different. What is the reason? If you compare, now you have a breakdown of activities consumed by each product or service. Now you have the breakdown. Since you have the breakdown now you can control them. Now you can identify the deficiency where it exists. Look at value wherever you see lot of deficiencies there in AH. Number of sales visit to customers. Here processing orders, normal deliveries, and they also consume urgent deliveries. Now you have to give how you are going to convert this least profitable customer to a more profitable customer. Okay, here your sale visit to customer is double than this customer. Here order processing more than 3 times, close to 4 times than LW, but sales only 50,000, 27,000, 50% more than this, or more than of 27,000. Here it is 50,000, mean 80% more than LW. But the problem is cost has gone up more than the change in sales quantity. Now you have to suggest to how to convert AH into a more profitable customer. The second part of the question itself asks, it asks about what? Demonstrate how CA could use this customer profitability analysis to increase its profit. Now they need to use this customer profitability analysis to increase their profit. Okay, I will take one by one. Number of sales visits. Number of sales visits cost. Nathan, I will take cost of sales visits. Cost of sales visits. How can you reduce number of cost of sales visit? You can do, you will identify a particular route optimization. You will visit, when you are going to visit this particular age customer, you will see what are the other customers there in the same route. You can use merge sales visit to customers. Okay, not particularly only this customer. You can look at what are the merge sales visit. Whether customers are in same route, you can not only this customer, other customers also might be able to cover. Therefore, you can use some merge sales visit or consolidated sales visit or merged sales visit to customers. Sales visit to customers. You can reduce number of sales visit cost to customers and regular contact with them. When you are managing the customers, you can give a call and keep updating on him, and it's a courtesy call to the customer. Then they will think about, okay, this person is contacted me, then we need to think about the purchasing from them. Number 2, order processing. Now your order processing cost is very high. Cost of order processing. Order processing. Cost of order processing. How can you reduce this cost of order processing? Because customers will place small orders, that's why their order processing cost is very high. Their order processing cost is very low. Why? This customer is place more orders, more quantities at once, but this particular customer place small orders at once. then in order to increase number of quantities order per one or per quantity quantity per order, what can you do? You can offer some bulk discount as an incentive. Offer bulk discount. Offer bulk discounts. To encourage larger quantities at once. Larger quantities at once. Larger quantities at once. You can offer a bulk discount, then customer will purchase bulk quantities, then number of orders placed by the customers will reduce. Then this will lead to reduce the delivery cost as well. It will lead to reduce some urgent deliveries as well. Okay, but remember, put a star mark and write it down. Cost of discount, cost of bulk discount should not exceed the saving of cost. Should not exceed the saving. It should be lower than the cost of saving, saved by bulk discount. Third one, I will take normal deliveries and urgent deliveries. Normal and urgent deliveries. What can you say? What can you reduce number of deliveries? Cost associated with delivery. You can same thing. You can do merge deliveries. Merge deliveries. Merge deliveries. Have you seen these merge deliveries in very popular delivery company? In food delivery company, you might know about Uber and PickMe. When they are going to deliver, assume you have placed an order. It appear while delivering your order, he will deliver some other orders in the way he is coming on your way. When he is sending the route, he will be sending another delivering another 2-3 dispatches. That means route optimization will be there. Route optimization can be done through the normal deliveries. It will be more logistic company, they will use some software to route optimizing. Okay, you can say merge deliveries or you can say route optimizing. Route optimization. How to do the route optimization, normal deliveries and urgent deliveries. Encourage customer to, or give some incentive to customers to order bulk quantities. As I said, offer bulk discount, then customer order bulk discount, he may not place rush orders. He will place rush orders since he order small quantities. Same apply here. Encourage to order large quantities, then rush orders can be eliminated. Rush orders can be eliminated. That's how activity based customer profitability analysis we can use to increase the profitability. When we are going to increase the profitability, you can see what are the activities which generate this overhead cost. What are the support service activities used by these customers? Then analyze customer by customer, and then you will identify the deficiency, where the deficiency exists. Then you can eliminate those deficiencies, then you can easily convert least profitable customer into a more profitable customer. That's why I said that the purpose of CPA is to convert least profitable customer into more profitable customer by analyzing their activity support service activity consumption. Where the weakness exists, you have to eliminate them. Okay. Now we are moving to the presentation again. Okay. Okay. That is mainly relating to customer wise profitability analysis. Now we are going to discuss about channel profitability when we are analyzing channel profitability, distribution channel profitability. Okay. Now you will analyze distribution when you are looking at the distribution channel wise profitability. Generally, channel wise distribution, how you will analyze, you will allocate the cost based on the product volume or sales volume based on the standard product cost or standard sales mix or revenue. Based on that, customer support channel support service cost you will allocate. You will allocate more cost on high volume product. You will allocate more cost on high sale revenue generated product. But that may not be the case. Sometime geographical location, geographical distribution, you will allocate the sales and general administration cost based on the revenue. It is an arbitrary allocation. Okay. This arbitrary allocate, if you allocate the cost in arbitrary basis, again this traditional approach gives some insight about how we have used the support service cost by activity. But allocation of cost by product by product may not be sometime easy. But the way they have been allocated, what you have used was sales revenue, the total product cost, that will be the allocation basis. Then you will allocate the same traditional weakness will be there. You will allocate more cost on high volume, high cost or high value product. If you look at this chart, your product cost is significantly high, total cost is given, the total cost. You have allocated higher cost for the high volume product. Look at channel cost for channel X, channel Y, channel Z. Each product channel, you will look at their revenue based on the standard mix or standard cost. Then you will allocate the cost with proportionate to the sales volume or sales cost, sale value or total cost. That is the main weakness in traditional approach. Now we are going to use ABC approach. When we are going to allocate this overhead support service cost of a distribution channel, anyway we can identify distribution channel different product wise product we can identify different products. They are direct product related costs you can easily identify like material, direct labor. You can directly trace to each channel. There is no problem. Therefore, you have to identify some costs which are related to the activity, which are not related to the activities. That means you have to identify what are the product related costs and what are the which are not product related. Okay, step by step it explains how to assess channel profitability. This is same as comparison of absorption costing and activity based costing. In activity based costing, what we have done? In activity based costing, we have identified major activities which generate overhead cost. Then what we have done? The next step, we have identified the cost drivers. Then each cost driver we have gathered the cost volume or cost pooling we have done. Based on the cost driver, we have allocated the cost in the cost pool to the each product or service. Same apply here. First you have to separate the organization cost into activity related cost and cost not related to the activities. Second step, identify all costs within two classification as product related or customer related or channel related. Now you will first identify, as I mentioned, first you will identify activity related cost, then you will identify costs which are not related with activities. Those total costs you have to identify it into product related and production related and customer related or channel related. A. Activity cost for manufacturing organization might include production scheduling product related, collection of bad debts customer related, okay, advertising brand X or brand Y, that is channel related. B. Cost not related to activities might include material cost, that is anyway product related, customer rebates customer related, and trade discount channel related. Okay, first what we are going to do, first step, activity related and cost, total cost, you will identify cost. You will identify it into two. Activity related and not related to activity, not related to activity, not related to activity. That is the first step. Identify all costs within the two classification as product related and customer related or channel related. Activity cost, okay, activity cost for a manufacturing might be include production scheduling, collection of bad debt, and advertising. Okay, we will do the activity related cost also. We will identify into two broad categories. One is product related, okay, product related sorry, activity cost for manufacturing, product related, otherwise channel related. Cost not related to activity might include material costs, product related, and okay, same classification, product related. Other one we can say customer or channel related. Not related to the activity also, product related, customer or channel related, channel related, channel related. It has given example, activity cost for manufacturing organization might be include production scheduling, okay, activity related, product related, production scheduling. We can take production scheduling, production scheduling. Then customer channel related will be, what is that? Bad debt, collection of bad debt, collection of bad debt, collection of bad debts, or promotion or advertising. Non-related, not related to activities might be material cost, that is product related, direct material cost. Customer or product related or channel related will be customer rebates, discounts, or rebates, trade discount, etc. Trade discount, that is second step. Trace this cost in individual product. Now you have identified product related, customer or channel related based on activity and non-activity related. Activity means those activities which help to after you make the sale. Some activities might be related to these activities, okay, not a part of unit cost. Trace this cost into individual products, customers, and channel cost drivers can be used to trace activity related cost. Direct allocation to the product, customer, channel that cost them should be possible for other cost. As an example, Non-related activity cost, you can directly take product related cost, direct material. Each product wise you can easily identify it. Okay. Customer discount, each product wise you can identify it for not related to the activities, but these activity related cost you have to allocate based on cost drive activity or channel related cost driver using channel related cost drivers. Link the product related and customer related cost to channels, split total product cost across customers by analyzing customer purchase on a product by product basis. Then split total customer cost across channels by analyzing this customer data on a channel by channel basis. The same thing what I have mentioned. Now you can allocate activity related cost into the customer distribution channel based on the product or service product sold by each distribution channel. Then by using the product sold by each distribution channel, these activity cost or support service cost you can allocate to each distribution channel. That is the ABC approach, which is bit slightly complex than traditional approach, but it will give a meaningful analysis. When you analyzing those meaningful information, you can see whether this information is worthwhile, which area need to be controlled, whether my distribution channel is profitable or not. Okay, that is the simple example, simple illustration about or simple discussion point about activity based costing approach in channel distribution. Same ABC principle you can use for channel profitability analysis. That is one of very important lessons what we have discussed, activity based costing approach in customer profitability analysis. Okay, that is the end of customer profitability analysis. I think you have get an idea about how to deal with customer profitability and how to convert least profitable customer into a more profitable customer. Okay, thank you for this is the one of important session about customer profitability analysis. Okay, the next one of important topic, capacity planning. It is new to the syllabus content, but we have discussed in some extent in budgeting and controlling, and we have discussed this capacity planning into some extent in standard costing and variance analysis about the fixed production overhead capacity variance, volume variance. Under that we have discussed in some extent, basic extent we have discussed about capacity planning. This capacity planning is very important topic. It can be tested, I think pilot paper also it has a question about capacity planning. Why it is very important in these days, this capacity planning? Now the business environment is highly volatile. Okay, the demand pattern slightly go up and suddenly come down. Now think about now what has happened. Now government has this New Year season 2021 April. The New Year season, with compared to the previous year New Year period 2020 April 2020, we were under lockdown situation. No shops were open. The textile, they were closed down during the quarantine during that particular period. In 2021, what has happened? People covered the areas in last year as well. They have went to the shop with freely. Now they haven't maintained the social distancing. But remember about the demand. In last year, April 2020, in last year, there was actually there was no demand. But this year, demand went in a significant manner. In that particular period, assume you had a workforce of 10 people. Those 10 people were isolated and you might have not been paid, and some employees were fired. Ask them to leave and you have not paid for them. But this year, you have to double or triple your workforce due to the sudden demand, hike or spike in demand. Therefore, your market when fluctuating, you have to manage your available resources. You should not over capacity or under capacity. You should not underutilize your capacity. Sometimes better to you over capacity, but it will not continue. It won't be sustainable. Now, if you are over capacity, sometimes you have to expand your capacity. Then you have to decide whether I need to expand my capacity in short term or long term or medium term. That's why the capacity planning matters. Look at capacity levels. Capacity levels refer the level of output can be achieved. In the you look at about the festival season, your demand was very high. Then whether you can manage the output, whether you can satisfy the customer demand, whether you have a capacity to satisfy customer demand based on the available capacity, then the management of capacity is very important. Okay, the proper capacity planning helps effective management of organizational resources. The reason I will say, if you look at about the period, assume time horizon, assume I say sales, in some periods sales were going up and coming down, going up and down, if fluctuating. When demand falls, okay, when demand falls and demand goes up, okay, this is the level, this is fall in demand, the hike. When demand fall and hike, you have to assess the resource requirement, the cost associated with the hiring or layoff staff. You have to think about how to manage, how to proper management of your available resources. As a businessman, as a business person, you have to decide how I effectively manage my workforce, how I manage my effective capacity, what is my effective capacity. Okay, those concepts we have to learn. When standard absorption costing is used, capacity levels are needed to establish a standard absorption rate for fixed production overhead. Any one of three capacity levels might be used for budgeting. Yes, when you are going to determine unit cost, you will design budget capacity. You will measure your capacity in different measures. As an example, number of direct labor hours, number of units, number of production units you will consider as a capacity. But that is a budgeted amount is the sometimes direct labor hours, machine hours, different basis you will use to measure the capacity. What is the meaning of design capacity? Design capacity, that this is theoretical maximum capacity. Theoretically say this is the maximum capacity you can achieve at 100% level. Okay, the theoretical maximum capacity, but actual might be lower than that. Okay, design capacity is the theoretical maximum capacity assuming continuous production without any stoppages due to factors such as machine downtime, supply shortages or labor shortages. Full capacity would be associated with the ideal standard. Design capacity, with the 100% efficiency level. 100% efficiency. 100% efficiency. This standard we call ideal standard. Ideal standard. We have learnt in standard costing and variance analysis. This will be an ideal standard design capacity. You will not assume any wastage in production. You won't assume any stoppage in production. Assume labor required 1 hour to manufacture 1 unit. Okay, that is standard cost says 1 hour per unit. Assume number of laborers are 80 employees. 80 employees. Assume working time 10 hours. You will not allocate any time for stoppage, machine breakdown, nothing. You will give your full time 1 hour per unit, then 80 employees should manufacture 80 units, 1 hour per unit, 80 employees, that means 80 units per hour. 80 units per hour, then if it is 10 hour operation, 800 units. You have not allocated any deviation for the time. Assume if you operate 24 hours, then 80 units per hour into 24 hours, 1920. That's how you will calculate design capacity. එක පැයකට 80ක් හදන්න පුළුවන්. If it is 24 hours, 1920 you have to manufacture. This is not feasible most of the time. This is the capacity you have determined based on 100% efficiency. Okay. Therefore, this may not be the actual capacity. This may not be the effective capacity. Then we will discuss about effective capacity. Design capacity is an ideal standard. Then what is the meaning of effective capacity? Effective capacity means it will consider machine slowdown time, thereafter shortages in labor, shortage in material supply, when you are going to route from resetting one job to other job, some stoppage time, normal stoppage time, all those things will be considered in effective capacity. Effective capacity. Effective capacity will be lower than design capacity. Effective capacity. This effective capacity will be set based on attainable standards. Attainable standards. Will be difficult to achieve but can be achieved. Will be difficult to achieve but can be achieved. Look at effective capacity acknowledges that some stoppages are unavoidable, such as maintenance time for machines and resetting time between jobs, some machine breakdowns and so on. Therefore, effective capacity is below design capacity. It can be tested in MCQ. Okay, and would be associated with attainable standard. Remember, it says design capacity, I will say DC, will be greater than EC, effective capacity. That means effective capacity will be lower than design capacity. Budgeted capacity. Budgeted capacity is the capacity, labor hours, machine hours needed to produce the budgeted output and would be associated with current standards. Okay. Budgeted capacity. Budgeted capacity. Even though effective capacity based on attainable standard, this may not reflect the current requirement. This budgeted capacity will be designed based on the market status, market statistics. Therefore, this we will represent current standard. Current standard. Current standard. Because sometimes current market condition, even though we have the effective capacity of this much, assume 10,000 unit, but market only required 8,000, then your budget capacity would be 8,000. Okay, look at it, will you? Budget capacity is the capacity needed to produce budgeted output and would be associated with current standards, which relate to the current condition but may not be representative of normal physical capacity over a longer period of time. Remember, it will the budgeted capacity only represent the present condition, not the historical condition. Sometime you have effective capacity of 100,000, now it is 70,000, but last month it is 80,000. If you prepare budgeted the capacity for 2020 for 80,000, based on the say 50,000 based on the pandemic situation, but 2021 it will be 80,000, which will be equal to effective capacity. Likewise, your budget capacity may not reflect the historical performance, okay, or normal practical capacity level over a period, or effective capacity may not be reflected. Utilization and efficiency. Now you can see whether I have efficiently utilized my capacity, because some cost associated with the entity or manufacturing will be fixed. If you manufacture more and more unit, then your associated cost will, or associate fixed cost will fall, or associate fixed cost per unit will reduce. Therefore, you have to look at whether I am utilizing my capacity, underutilize or overutilize. Anyway, design capacity is the ideal standard, no. Then you have to look at utilization ratio, actual output against the design capacity. Anyway, efficiency you will measure based on the effective capacity. Out of effective capacity, what is my actual? Anyway, your efficiency ratio will be lower than, or sometime if you look at from the design capacity, it will be lower, but you have to measure the real picture, real idea you can obtain from the efficiency ratio, not from the utilization ratio. Okay, utilization ratio says actual capacity divided by design capacity. Okay, design capacity at the 100% efficiency level, but this ratio may not be more accurate when the effective capacity is lower than the design capacity. Yes, you have to look at from the effective capacity, even though 100% is idealist and it is not realistic. Therefore, you have to measure the efficiency by using the effective method. Therefore, efficiency ratio will compare the difference as a ratio between effective capacity and actual capacity. Okay, there is an example. We will look at the example and then we will realize our utilization and efficiency ratio. Following information are relevant to ABC PLC for year ended 31st March 2021. Actual production 250,000, design capacity was 400,000 units. Okay. Due to the current pandemic situation, the effective capacity throughout the period was 325,000. Okay. Calculate capacity utilization ratio and capacity efficiency ratio. Okay, now we will look at three figures. Design capacity. 400,000 units. Effective capacity 325,000 units. Actual capacity 250,000 units. Okay, now I will see the utilization ratio. Capacity utilization ratio. Capacity utilization. Actual capacity divided by design capacity. Actual capacity divided by design capacity. Into 100. Actual capacity was 250,000 units. Design capacity was 400,000 into percentage. It was 62.5%. This is the utilization, 62.5% is the utilization. Now we will see what will be the efficiency ratio. Efficiency you can measure actual capacity divided by effective capacity. Into 100. Actual capacity 250,000, effective capacity 325,000 as a percentage. Okay, then you can get the answer. It might be close to 80%. Okay, 240. No, at 80, something around 75%. You can calculate the efficiency ratio. Then what you can say, your efficiency ratio is always greater than capacity utilization ratio. Why? Your effective capacity is most of the time lower than design capacity. Always remember, your design capacity greater than effective capacity. When it is like that, your efficiency ratio will be higher than capacity utilization ratio. Okay, demand management strategies. Okay, now when the demand fluctuate, you have to manage your capacity. Number one, when capacity exceeds demand, you have a huge capacity but your demand is lower than your capacity. Assume you have a capacity of 100,000, effective capacity 100,000, but market demand only 50,000. Okay, that means I will take like this. Then you can easily understand this. Now this is your capacity. 100,000. This is the demand. 50,000. That means your capacity is not fully utilized. Now here what has happened? Your capacity is greater than demand. Now you want to increase the demand. How you are going to increase your demand? How you are going to increase further? You have to see whether this particular product is price sensitive. Price sensitive means if the product is more elastic mean the small change in price will have a big impact on quantity. Therefore, what you can do, you will reduce, if this is highly elastic, you will reduce the price in order to increase the quantity. Okay. Therefore, offer additional discount and other promotional strategy to attract more demand from the popular purchasers. That means you are going to change their purchasing pattern. Okay. Also, if you have to take more promotional activities and you can do more advertising in order to boost the demand, you have to heavily influence or heavily invest on promotional activities. Therefore, price reduction will be more suitable for highly elastic product. When demand exceeds capacity, okay, it's other way around. Now you have the capacity 50,000. Capacity 50,000. Now demand is 100,000. Now you can't satisfy the demand. There are two approaches. You can increase the price if the demand is inelastic. You can increase the price, demand will fall. On the other hand, you need not to spend more on promotional campaign. Okay. On the other hand, you can increase, you can sell your product, or you have a higher demand, then you can, is it capacity only 50,000, you can send this popular product as a bundling with the unpopular product. You can sell, you can get additional sales of your unpopular product if you are selling bundle with this product to a unpopular product. Those are the when demand exceeds the capacity, or then you can less invest, less time and funds to be spent on promoting the product. Seasonal demand, like I said, in the period where the new year comes, Christmas comes, demand will suddenly go up and again come down to the normal level. In the peak situation, you have to identify very clearly, and you have to maintain high stock level, and you have to attract or contract laborers during this particular demand hike. And when demand falls, then you can lay off those additional employees. That is the demand management strategies. When demand fluctuate, when demand exceed capacity, when capacity exceed demand, and seasonal demand, those are the three scenarios available what you can do. Short term capacity planning, if you have a labor demand or capacity, assume you have a significant increase in sales, first what we have, you have to plan your resources based on sales budget. When you are preparing even the budgeting process, also start with sales budget. You have to clearly forecast sales, fluctuation of sales. Based on that, you have to manage the resources. I will say this is the period, I will say Jan, Feb, March, April, May. Sales slightly goes up, down. March and April go up, and again it goes down. May. Okay. Now your sales going up from Feb, mid of Feb to, it will start to fall after 15th. This period you have to see what I need to do. When it declining, the two strategies are different. Okay. Therefore, first you have to look at the behavior of sales. Sales. Based on sales budget, you have to forecast the resource requirement. If there are shortfall in production, following options are possible: overtime working, machine hire, changing inventory levels. Those are the demand management strategy when there is a lack of production. Remember, the above arrangement should be temporary till end of the peak period. Then peak period it should be temporary. You can hire the machinery for temporary period. You can hire the labor as a contractual labor for short term period. Then when you come to the usual or normal operation, then you can lay off them. Long term capacity planning. If you have excess capacity, okay, that means you might have excess capacity might arise as a result of reduction in demand due to quality improvements, or sometimes due to you have increased the prices, or sometimes it has been your capacity utilization might have fallen. Then this will reduce operation of the entity. It may require layoff additional employees. In a long term process, you have to start assume due to your efficiency also, you can double. If you do some introduction of new technology, you can increase the capacity without increasing the physical resources. As an example, automation of some processes will lead to increase your processing capacity. Then it will require some layoff of employees. Excess capacity of product can be diversified into a new area which enable to operate in full capacity. You will find alternative product to use the idle capacity. If you have idle capacity, you can see what are the suitable areas, suitable option to use such capacity. When the capacity shortage exists, that means long run, you have to decide, you have to expand your production capacity, or you can subcontract if it is not feasible, not suitable to use this or expansion, capital investment into the expansion, then you may subcontract the excess demand in order to cater the demand. Okay, those are this is a very small topic. You have to have a basic understanding when demand exceed the capacity, in the capacity exceed, how we manage our workforce during the peak time when it is come to demand reduction, when how we manage our existing resources. Mainly they should be managed based on the sales forecast, sales budget. Okay, that is the end of capacity planning. It's a very small lesson, but you have to practice. There are some pilot paper question in pilot paper. You can practice that particular question as well. The demand or the capacity planning mainly deal with how to deal with when the demand and our demand fluctuate in accordance with the market fluctuation, how the entity should manage their resources. They will plan their resources based on the sales budget. Okay, till we meet again with another session. Stay safe and study hard. Thank you.